Rob Hirschman from PROJILITY, presenting on some of the trends we are seeing across manufacturing organizations and their drive to adopt PPM technology. Rob is a partner here at PROJILITY and has spent the past 25 years working with large enterprises and their PMOs to drive selection, use, and adoption of PPM technologies and processes. Prior to being a founder partner of PROJILITY in 2005, Rob was a PPM specialist at Microsoft, where he worked with some of the East Coast's largest enterprises to drive visibility, insight, and control over their key projects and programs. Rob, over to you.
Thanks, Annie. Thanks, everyone, for joining today. And if you can confirm you can see my screen.
Yep, we can see it.
Awesome. Great. So let's start out. I'm only going to talk for about 5 or 10 minutes and just talk about some of the different trends we're seeing across a lot of our manufacturing clients around project portfolio management specifically. You heard from Keith and you heard from Bill about what they've been doing. You know, when we look at PPM solutions more holistically, they're really designed to support a general set of processes that you'll see here on the screen. These range from everything on the left from your top-down planning, which can include demand and intake management, the development of detailed business cases around projects, prioritizing your projects and aligning those with your business objectives, as you heard from some of the presentations. They can also assist with supporting resource capacity management, capacity planning, whether it's your people and your roles and your teams and your equipment or your capital. Across all this, really driving robust performance management at a portfolio level. So that's really kind of the beginning of why a lot of folks get into PPM. The second reason on the right is really about more of your execution level on your projects, your programs, your work, and having a single integrated tool set, as Bill had talked about, that really integrates into the day-to-day tools they use like Teams and SharePoint. And this ranges from your scheduling and enterprise scheduling to doing day-to-day blocking, tackling around resources, to tracking issues and risks, and also doing your work and time reporting and having a central collaboration environment. The key message here, hoping to get across, is that these processes and related tools can be aligned with different parts of manufacturing organizations in different ways to drive different value. And so we do it, we look at a typical manufacturing organization and how it's structured. While the specific structure will vary highly based on the size, the industry, the product types, the location, the business they're in, we found that a lot of organizations in manufacturing have some core similarities. In the support departments you see on the left, there are core groups that manage the business. These can be finance, they can be human resources, operations, and IT. And below that, there's a couple of core groups here that really do drive a lot of the organization and some of the activities. One of those is quality control. And these folks are typically responsible, and organizations are responsible for driving quality as it relates to activities and initiatives, implementation of and measuring consistent processes, and they can drive operational quality and operational excellence, and overall making sure quality is maintained throughout the overall business lifecycle, aligning this and measuring this across the organization. That can be initiatives or groups that do ISO certification, ISO 9000, Six Sigma, Lean, etc. Quality is one of those groups. The second group we typically find that's common in most manufacturing organizations is research and development, or a lot of organizations that called innovation today. These groups are generally responsible for improving on the offerings the company provides to market today and being very future looking towards identifying new technologies, new processes, or new solutions that are going to drive future state growth. The key here is to really invest in the right areas to ensure you have competitiveness that's not only maintained, but it's maximized and it's growing looking forward. It's not what you're selling today, it's what you're going to sell and support in the future, and that's really what R&D and innovation is all about. And below that, we have the engineering services group. And this is really all about maintenance, preventive and corrective maintenance and controls around this. And these are the folks that are really going through and doing the overall engineering services on some of the products and the services and solutions in place. So we look at it, those are really the supporting departments of an organization that's in the manufacturing business. On the core business operations side on the right, you see we have operations and production groups. And this is where the majority of the business lives. This is where the organizational assets like products are developed and maintained, your IP is managed, products and services are delivered to market here. The key objectives of these organizations really are to really grow assets, to produce products and services that customers or clients are going to be purchasing to drive revenue. So, where in this life cycle does a technology and a process like project portfolio management, where is it relevant? In our experience, we've really seen it's highly relevant in a couple of core areas, and you heard this from Keith and Bill's presentations today. And first and foremost, really, the key objective of the organization is to drive profitability, to improve customer retention and growth, and to have risk-managed profit. So one of the areas that people invest in PPM technologies in these areas is really in the new product development area. And this is where companies typically need to manage, develop, and bring products to market, whether it's new products or enhancements to existing products. And there's hundreds, if not thousands, of concurrent work efforts going on in engineering and product teams. These are all projects. And these groups are highly structured. They think in terms of discrete work activities and work products. They have interdependencies. They apply resources and measure their utilization against availability. And finally, they need to really understand the timelines and the deadlines and the milestones and go live dates. With all of these different components, a PPM system and the processes around it makes a lot of sense. It makes it easier to track all of these. And this is a lot of times where the money is in the business, where the revenue is being generated. The next natural spot in a manufacturing organization we typically see PPM being related to is in innovation or research and development, which is typically a lot less structured than product management, but they do manage a series of incoming demands into a funnel, an innovation funnel. They determine what to invest in. They track R&D related work in a series of projects and activities in order not only to measure the progress, but also understand the timelines and the milestones, and also to capture and track time spent against these activities to advance things like your research and development credits and that have tax benefits across the business. And then the final space we typically see PPM is initiated is traditionally in IT. And IT is really where PPM got its birth about 25 or 30 years ago. This is where a large volume of projects happens. Resources are working, and it's just a natural fit for these kind of solutions. We also found that in IT organizations, they're becoming a lot more strategic to enterprises. We've seen the emergence of digital transformation over the last 4 or 5 years, or digital program offices. And so organizations are really going to have to account for a lot of the activities that are going on that are impacting different parts of the organization and the business. And having a really good way to see across all of the key project investments, whether it's done in an agile, a waterfall, or a hybrid methodology, it's become really critical to the CEO, the CXO, all the way up to the executives and the board. So when we look at a typical manufacturing organization, these are really good starting points for where PPM has relevance. And there are different value points for PPM, a PPM solution and processes in the different groups. When you start thinking about, well, how do I build a business case for this? In research and development on the left, you want to be able to track the effort against different investments. You want to be able to codify the time and work in a way where you're showing, what are the investments, why are you making them, what's the ROI going to be to the business? The second key value point is really a portfolio view into the work, the people, and the processes going on. A lot of R&D organizations can be fairly scattered, and it's a hope when things will be delivered. That doesn't work anymore, and it has to be a lot more structured because you want to know when you're going to be bringing innovations that are going to lead to future products or enhancements to existing products. And finally, it allows you to be a lot more forward-looking and proactive. It allows you to shift some of your investments based on the progress you're making and the results you're seeing a lot more rapidly because you have visibility, insight, and control into it. So there are true value points for R&D or innovation. The second set of value points are really around new product development. We talked about how important NPD is to an organization in the manufacturing industry. This is where you first and foremost can identify any cross-product opportunities, any risk points, any bottlenecks, so you can determine if I've committed to bringing a product to market in a certain time frame, am I going to be on time? What are my risks and what are my constraints? And how do I make sure I can deliver that on time or maybe even early to market? Secondly, it's going to help improve your throughput and your time to market. Maybe I can get a product out quicker. Maybe I can deliver it to certain customers faster and realize more revenue or more value, or maybe increase customer retention because I'm bringing them additional value. So it really is about time to market and setting expectations and planning. The third area, which becomes ultra critical, is being able to really optimize your resources across the portfolio. We had one organization that rolled this out across 9 different businesses, each with different products, but often they had engineers that developed one product could also be reused on another product if they had downtime, because there was cross-resource capabilities there. So having a central resource pool and having central visibility of that allows you to maximize resources if they have downtime in one area or opportunity areas in another. You can really maximize that and make sure you've got the right resources working on the right work, but you can take advantage of those opportunities. And finally, the ability to really assess and measure the performance of your products, bringing them to market, not only on time, but what value am I seeing? A lot of product-centric organizations we work with actually track net sales and gross sales against the specific product or project that they've been tracking, so they can see true and calculate true return on investment on those investments. Finally, on the far right in the IT area, you can always increase project rates of success. If you're at a 40, 50, 60% range, which is about standard in the IT business, what if I could get that to 70 or 75%? Because I've got true visibility to what's going on, and I can address the risks, make sure they don't become issues, and I'm very proactive with my planning. You can also maximize resource utilization. IT shops are pressed to do more work with less people these days, and especially with transformation going across the business, there's a lot more work to do. Well, if you can identify you've got certain resources that are constrained or bottlenecked, because they can't work on more than 4 or 5 projects at a time. It gives you a business case to bring in additional resources or reduce your project load in different ways. It also helps you align your investments to your business strategy. And again, as IT becomes more strategic to enterprises, you want to make sure you're not just doing every project, you're doing the right projects. Because a lot of the value is lost in a portfolio for investing in the wrong projects and killing them too late. If I don't even do those projects or I kill them early, I can reinvest in the right projects that are going to actually bring value to the organization from an IT perspective. And finally, we're finding a lot of IT organizations and CIOs are really portfolioizing, if that's a word. They're turning their projects into portfolios. They have multiple portfolios that are comprised of multiple projects and non-project activities, and they think of that as a portfolio they're managing and investments they're bringing to the business instead of just lights-on activities. And it allows you to have a business discussion about the value of IT and how you're going to be delivering versus just, oh, it's IT in the background. So these are just some value points we're seeing across the different parts of a manufacturing organization. And what if, just kind of helping you visualize this, you could see the entire portfolio of all your new product development or enhancement products in one place, in one visual, in one dashboard, like you see here coming from the project online environment. Or maybe you can start looking at things like the innovation pipeline and look at upcoming projects and investments and work you're going to be taking on and start to see what's coming in initiation, what needs to be approved, what's in the planning phase, all in one place. So look at the early stage, even before something becomes a project. Or how about taking a look at all the major IT investments the organization is making over the next 12 to 24 months? Look at those in terms of different programs and the investments you're making, and where are you from a schedule, cost, and performance perspective? Or even being able to look a little more broadly across your resource utilization and capacity in research and development or NPD or IT, and look at, do I have resources that are more or less available? Do I have time periods where I can take on more work, or I've got more work than I know what to do with, or I've got a pipeline coming in where I need more engineering help? All this is possible with a PPM solution. And then you start to layer Power BI, and you saw a lot of Power BI reports from Keith and from Bill. Put Power BI on top of that, and you can really provide management with dashboards and visibility across all the information to drive better decision making and drill from the top level down on your products, your projects, your investments, your people, and your work across your entire enterprise. So if you think about it coming from a manufacturing organization, you're going to see a lot of value in putting a PPM or a project portfolio management tool, process, and some of the different processes and people in place. Given all these possibilities, how do you get started? And we found there are some commonalities in our successful manufacturing clients that decide to move forward with a PPM investment. The first of those is find a high value use case where PPM is a really good fit. I think, Keith talked a lot about this, is don't try to do too much. Focus on kind of the small wins, start small and de-risk everything. We had one large pharmaceutical manufacturer came to us and they wanted to address all the projects in R&D. When we boiled it down, it actually came down to tracking actual work on those so they could attribute to R&D credits so they could actually get a tax benefit from that and then grow a project and portfolio management capability off that. So instead of trying to do everything, we focused on doing one small thing for a lot of users and started to grow that capability once you have good data and information in the system. Additionally, after that, the IT group came and said, hey, we see this as an opportunity to improve our process as well. So, PPM can start to spread once people see the value of it. You can start to see dual use cases at a single time. Again, the idea is really solve one problem at a time. Don't try to solve 5 or 6 or 7 problems. You'll end up solving nothing. Address a resource management problem or a portfolio visibility problem or a centralized scheduling problem. You can be very successful with that. And then it'll, again, start to spread and you can grow that as well. What you also want to think about doing is start thinking more broadly about some of the connections between different functions in your manufacturing organization and how PPM can be used to streamline that. We talked a little bit, and Keith talked about how you can, you'd start in one area and then grow into another. Start in R&D. They see how it's a natural fit for new product development. That's the intake funnel for everything going into new product development. So why not use one common system, maybe in different flavors of it, but one common system so the data is consistent and it's all in one platform. In the end, it's all a set of interrelated processes about delivering more value to your business and providing visibility and control over it. So why would you use 5 or 6 different tools? We also find that identifying different stakeholders and early on, identify what they want and the need for better information to make decisions. What information don't they have to make decisions today? Instead of them waiting 2 weeks or a month to get that data from spreadsheets or Excel or PowerPoint, what if you could go to one system, click 2 buttons and get that data to make an informed decision? Because now everything is happening a lot faster. With digital transformation, organizations are pressed to really get more done in less time and bring better products and services to customers quicker. Yeah. We also talk about, building a roadmap, and you saw the roadmap that the folks at Westinghouse and EcoBat have. Think about this as a mid to long-term roadmap for a solution. Even though you're starting small, think about, where do I want to be in 12, 24, 36 months with a solution, and understand you can't really boil that all at once, but you do have a plan in your head. You're trying to run the marathon, but you have to get through the first 4 or 5 or 6 miles first. So build that roadmap and that plan, sell the initial phases of that, but then think a lot longer term in your head. And really think about, we call it IT plus. IT plus is a business group as a recipe for success. We find that about 80 or 90% of these initiatives start as an IT initiative, and that can provide a lot of value. But the ROI is going to expand exponentially when you get over into the business, when you sell out to product development or innovation or R&D, or maybe folks in finance or HR want to manage their projects as well. It can just explode, and explode, bringing a lot more value, because again, everything is centrally stored and tracked in one system. So really think kind of beyond just the single use case, build that roadmap, visualize that, sell that picture to your executives, but just get the funding to address the first problem first, and that'll start to grow, and then you'll start to get more sponsorship and more funding over time. So what we really wanted to do is walk you through some examples of how what we found successful manufacturing organizations have in common and how PPM applies to them. Well, with that, I'm going to give the floor back to Annie and see if we have any questions. Annie?
Thanks, Rob, for that insight. We'll now open the floor to questions and answers, as he said. Remember to enter your questions in the questions and answer manager at the top of your team screen. Are there any questions in the queue? There are no further questions. We will continue the presentation. So you want to stay on time. To close out, if you or anyone in your organization is looking for help or guidance with the planning, deploying, or driving good use and adoption of a Microsoft PPM solution, reach out. PROJILITY provides post-implementation support services around Microsoft PPM platform designed to help you drive better project, portfolio, and resource management across your teams and enterprise. Additionally, you can visit our website, which is a series of blogs, as well as our YouTube channel that includes tons of great videos on topics related to the information we shared today. Reach out via email, info@progility.com, if you'd like to talk about your specific needs. Thank you all again for joining our webinar today. We appreciate your time and look forward to seeing you online for our next session in February. Have a great day.